Wait.
Let's get your thoughts on the breaking news overnight, that being the situation regarding Ryan Garcia's case has now been handed a ban for a year, as well as a fine, which has gone to Golden Boy Promotions, a fine that goes to the commission as well, too. And the decision in the Haney fight has been overturned to a no contest. Your reaction?
Well, I wish I got £1 million every time a fighter tests positive. I'm not sure how that works out, but yeah, I mean, firstly, I think I like the way the New York State Athletic Commission have dealt with it so quickly. I have no idea of the situation or the case or the hearing, but it's my opinion that they probably went in with almost like a guilty plea to do a deal. And sometimes that's the quickest way to deal with it. When you've got someone that's so adamant of his innocence, like Conor Ben, it's hard to convince them to go and do a deal and basically say, sorry guys, because he never wanted to do that, still to this day. And in the end, it's like, that's sometimes the easiest way to deal with this situation is to go in and do a deal. So I presume they didn't fight his innocence, really, in a hearing, because the hearing, I don't think it even went on particularly long. It was a conversation between the parties and a deal was reached. I think the no contest is absolutely right. And obviously that's great for Devin. Ryan will sit out for a year. My worry with Ryan is what happens in that year. I don't think it's this carbon copy of I'll chill out and I'll start training in 9 months and I'll see you in a year. He's going to have to deal with a lot of shit along the way now, and I worry for him. And I think Devin might end up sitting out, to be honest with you. Like, I don't see him taking a Sandor Martin fight. At the same time, I don't think that, would he go to Australia to fight Paro? I mean, the Ryan Garcia fight's a big fight, that rematch, when it comes back around. But will Ryan even return to boxing? I don't know, but it's a right fucking mess, to be honest with you. That's the reality of the situation.
I just want to get your thoughts, just obviously in that observer here, but what damage will this do to Ryan Garcia's reputation, both in fans' eyes and also commercially?
Well, commercially, it doesn't really matter because I don't feel like he's commercially in a great place in terms of the corporate world. I mean, he's well out there. Like, you're not... And I don't blame him for that, but obviously corporate sponsors and stuff like that aren't going to want to attach themselves to Ryan before this incident because of the stuff on social media and etc. And that's his prerogative. There's no...
All rise. The Honorable Manolo, live and direct, is in the building. Y'all may be seated. Welcome back. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment if you like the content. We got a decision, right? We got a ruling. What's that ruling? Oh, Ryan Garcia, guilty. Guilty. Let me explain something, right? I had to do the judge thing. You know what? I think this was fair. The reason being, I think this is fair, right? Regardless of how split the boxing world is on this discussion right now, you know what? We're not gonna know. Matter of fact, let me say it like this. We can only go based on the facts, right? The facts are Ryan Garcia popped for Osterman. How it got there, according to him, is a mystery, right? He continues to claim his innocence. I don't blame him, right? Listen, I don't know a person yet that has gone to any criminal court in America and has pled guilty to something up front, right? Normally they say, I'm pleading not guilty. They work the case until what we have now, which is a plea bargain. So I need everybody to understand, Ryan wasn't, it didn't go to trial, right? It wasn't like he was found guilty by some peers of the community, who were playing jurors or whatever. This was a plea bargain, right? Him and his legal team came to a decision on this. So if you're, guys, we can't get caught up in the narrative, right? We can't get caught up and I understand that there's Haney channels and there's Ryan channels now. Unbelievable. I didn't want to believe that, but now that I've actually taken the time to get on YouTube and see what other content creators are doing, you can almost see it. Not almost. You see it. I mean, it's a fact. There are content creators who are strictly, they talk nothing but great about Devin Haney, and then there's content creators that talk great about Ryan Garcia, right? And they're sticking to their sides. That's what it is. Personally, for me, I ain't with none of the drama, personally, right? I just want to bring you the news the way it's supposed to be brought to you. What is truth? The truth of the matter is he popped for the arsenal. As much as we would like to support him and what he's saying and saying he's innocent, you know what? We can support him, right? We could say, hey, you know what? We believe you, but that's not how the justice system works, right? That's not how the New York Athletic Commission operates. And to be honest with you, they were quite light on the punishment. Being suspended for a year, I mean, there are fighters who take off a year after fighting once a year. You know what I mean? Maybe they'll fight twice a year. The real busy ones will fight 3 times a year, right? That's if you're broke and you need the money and you want to put yourself through the punishment, or the rigorous training. But listen, he already fought this year, right? I don't know exactly how much he made. According to the punishment, he had to give back his purse bid, right? Which was what, 1.1 million, 1.2 million, and he had to pay that back to Oscar De La Hoya's promotional company, Golden Boy. How that worked out, I don't know. The boxing world is strange. But he also got hit with a $10,000 fine that he had to pay to the state of New York. So with that being said, man, that's like a don't do that again type thing. You know what I mean? Like, again, I wish, I was hoping to find out whether this was done intentionally or not. Because that's why the world is divided on this, right? That's why you have the Haneyacks bugging out, and it's getting to a point where it's racist now. I don't even know how that happened. That's crazy. To even bring racism into this is absurd. It almost reminds me of like West Coast, East Coast beef with Biggie and Tupac, except these two are two West Coast kids, and be honest with you guys remind me of Days of Our Lives with all this drama that's going on. You remember Days of Our Lives? Your mother used to watch it, right? When you were a kid, a soap opera. There's so much drama in this that, like I said, every day I know I'm going to have some content to talk about because there's something in my phone about Ryan or Devin or Dan Raphael or whoever, Victor Conti, Bill Haney. Something is always going to be there. And you know what? For y'all who think that this is over with, you're bugging. You're bugging. Like, nah, man. Listen, these are two prideful guys. One believes he didn't do it. The other one believes he absolutely did it, right? And he believes more than that, actually. So you're gonna have legal battles now, right? I mean, we've gotten to the point where we understand why Ryan's getting suspended. We understand that it's not, you know what, this is, like I said, it's very light. It's very light. I mean, question is, before I get into anything else, can Ryan, because they're saying he could fight come April 20th or April 20th, whatever day he popped up. I believe it was April 19th, actually, was the day before the fight, right? Or April 20th, which was the day of the fight. So as it goes, he popped the 19th and he popped on another test for the 21st. So whichever date between there. But listen, that doesn't mean he can fight automatically right away. What that means is he's eligible for a license at that time. If, there's an if here, if he's able to prove that he's clean at the time. So he's got some things to go through, right? He's not only being fined and suspended, he's got to do some phantom testing, I guess you would call it, right? Some pop-up tests, rigorous testing to prove he's staying clean throughout the year's time. So let's see what happens with Ryan. I think that's going to be one of his biggest challenges. I don't believe he's on narcotics, right? Drugs. I don't believe he's on that. But he might have a little alcohol issue. And you know what? There's proof of that. I said that in one of my last uploads that the kid needs some help, right? I got a little backlash for that. Why, I don't know, but whatever, right? But I know that I was right in saying that because even the WBC has come out and said, we're not interested. We're not interested in punishing Ryan. We're more interested in helping him. We recognize there's a problem with him. He's dealing with a lot, right? right? But that's not to take away from what Devin's dealing with either. Because, listen, as this is what I can tell you. We could listen to Ryan and say he didn't do it, right? And we could listen to Devin Haney and say, no, he did do it, and I'm suffering from it. My values drop. All the things that are happening. This is what I'm saying, man. The world's divided on this, and I don't think it's something where we need to pick a side, right? We just need to understand what's happening here. There's one thing's for sure: something doesn't feel right. I'm going to be completely honest with that. Something doesn't feel right. Whatever that is, right? I'm going to take my time. I'm going to let things play out until whatever occurs, right? It could be that this just plays out where Ryan comes back in a year from now and maybe we see a rematch. Maybe we don't. I'm going to be honest with you. I would think that because these guys are so prideful, this is going to be a very tough negotiation to get him back in for a rematch. There were some big mistakes made here on Devin Haney's team side. You know what I mean? A lot of mistakes. I mean, personally, if I was the undisputed champion, I don't care how much, I wouldn't have felt comfortable coming in as the B side. I was undisputed. I let that go to come to fight Regis Prograis and become the WBC champion of the world. I'm the champ here at this table. How are you the A side? But I get it. Times have changed, right? The more popular fighter brings the bigger bag. I get it, right? But I don't know that I would have. I don't know, man. I wouldn't have rocked out with this fight. This fight was problematic from the very beginning. You understand what I'm saying? All the way up into the ethics, the weigh-ins. I mean, come on. We can even go based on Ryan being unprofessional and coming 3 pounds overweight, right? But we have to be neutral here. Devin Haney did agree and say the weight don't matter. It don't matter what weight he comes at in. I'm going to beat him. I'm superior to him. And you renegotiated the terms of the contract for $600,000 and a couple points on the back end. So do you see how many things have happened here that kind of just, it's so much controversy? We're not going to stop talking about this. This isn't over with. I mean, at this point, even after the kids are suspended, he's still out there trolling. I mean, he's at a poker game. He's, I don't even know how comfortable the people around him playing were. Honestly, it looked like they were very uncomfortable with the way he was drinking and just acting erratic at the poker table. We got him doing some comedy, some stand-up comedy. He's not going to stop. You understand what I'm saying? He says it. I just want to hang out with girls. I just want to drink and hang out with girls. I pray, right? I don't know what y'all do. I pray that Ryan finds a little bit of help if he needs it, if he admits he needs it, if he wants it, and get back in the ring, man. And Ryan, I don't understand. You could be great. Like, if you focused on the craft, my brother, oh, man. And then not only that, I don't even think you've hit your potential for how good you could be, but you already have that ceiling of fame. You already have the popularity. What you could become in the sport of boxing could be astronomical, right? But we have to look at Devin Haney now too, right? Because honestly, listen, right? This is messed up. This is messed up for Haney. And I feel for Devin Haney, right? Because the guy, realistically speaking, factually, Ryan got caught for PEDs. The world's wondering if those PEDs, right, if those PEDs had any effect in the fight. Personally, and I've said it in my other videos, with the small amount that the traces that were found in his system, I personally don't think so. I don't. I'll be honest with you. It's still a question, a big question to me, how he tested negative for 6-7 weeks prior, and then all of a sudden, I mean, if there's some sort of, I don't know, if there's some sort of way to do this, right? If there's some process you can put your body through where you can hide this from one of the gold standard testing agencies of the world. I mean, you know what I mean? If you're that smart to outslick the gold standard testing agency of the world, I don't know. I don't know how you get away with it for weeks at a time. First of all, you got to understand what Ostarine is, right? It's a SARMs, right? It's not quite a full-blown steroid like Trenbolone or Deca or anything like that, right? So it's sort of like an Anavar. If you find Ostarine, because it's hard to find and it's pretty outdated at this point. There are other more popular steroids out there that people are taking, so I'm surprised it's even Ostarine that was in the system. But it's like an Anavar. It's very weak, right? It's mostly taken orally. And you have to take a lot of it, right, in order for it to be effective. As a matter of fact, a lot of women take it today to gain muscle, right? And it's safer to do SARMs than it is like an actual injectable steroid, because it doesn't grow everything like your heart, your liver, and everything like an actual injectable steroid does. SARMs just attack the muscles you're ripping, basically. In a very basic explanation. When you work out, you do some curls, some bench, the muscles you're ripping, that's where the SARMs attack, and it doesn't bother the heart, the liver, nothing like that. It's a safer option. So how they didn't catch that, I don't know. Again, this is why the world's divided on it, because you even have the master of steroids who does direct business with Devin Haney. So you're going to have the Ryan fans who think this is a conspiracy, and then you're going to have the Haney fans who think, no, you should be looking at things factually. And, listen, I'm not here to pick a side. I'm just here to bring the news. And at the end of the day, something just doesn't seem right, whether it's on Ryan's side and he's lying and he did this intentionally, or is it on Devin Haney's side and these guys quite intelligent crooks, right, and set this up. I don't know. To be honest with you, I've been doing a hell of a lot of research, and honestly, I can't. I'm dead in the middle, man. I'm. How can you tell, right? Like, to be honest with you, I have to go with. At the end of the day, I have to go with what the New York State Athletic Commission has ruled. And so did Ryan's legal team, right? They took the plea bargain. That means they agreed to it. That's admitting. If y'all don't know that, that's basically admitting you did something. In a court of law today, if you did a crime and if they offered you a plea bargain, they're going to explain to you with that plea bargain what it means. It means you are admitting to doing this crime. And because you're admitting to doing that crime, you're going to get a lesser sentence or lesser punishment, whatever it may be. And that's why it was a year. That's why I was only, they gave him the maximum of $10,000 actually. And he had to pay back the $1 million. And he has to do drug testing, right? But listen, this could have been a hell of a lot worse. Imagine if they would have took into consideration whether he did this intentionally or not, and they actually proved that he did it intentionally, because he has not been able to prove that he did it intentionally. Even though, let's address that part too, even though he got the hair follicle that says negative, even though he had those products tested by an accredited water company, which is a whole, guys, for the Haneyacks who think that, that's a third-party company, that they can't. No. That company's accredited by water, basically telling you they do things exactly like water. And on the water website, if you scroll down to the bottom, they're right there, accredited. So that's basically water, right? So yes, his products were contaminated, but did someone contaminate those, right? Because then you got the companies that tested the lot number, and those didn't test positive for Ostarine. So there's a lot, right? There's a lot. Like in the beginning, it was Narangelone 19 that was in there, and then it wasn't in there. Listen, guys, at the end of the day, he had it in the system. And I'm going to speak how boxing fans, boxing analysts, and anyone who makes any content or delivers the news should speak. Ryan's a professional. And I like Ryan a lot. I like Devin a lot. I'm not picking sides, but Ryan's a professional. And at the end of the day, you should know what's going in and out of your system. If there is even a slight chance, right, that why even do it? I don't even have to go into explaining it. Why drink a protein shake or creatine or something that you're not 100% certain it has nothing in it? This is why a lot of people who are even fans or analysts, reporters, writers, they're telling the boxers today, doctors, right, coaches, listen, get your products tested. If you're going to choose to use anything, get it tested, right? It's the only way you could possibly be 100% certain that something is not contaminated. And if for any reason that you pop before the fight, you have a way to show, no, it wasn't these, or all of a sudden, if they are that, then who had these? There's a way to prove things. You understand what I'm saying? I know that's an expensive option, but that's your choice. You guys make money. If you choose to take something, get it tested. That's really it. And that's unfortunate for Ryan, to be honest with you. And it's unfortunate for Haney because, honest to God, it really looks like it's not bothering Ryan, even though, he's made some comments on Twitter saying, I'm going to go to UFC, right? Or he's upset that they've taken his most credible win. I honestly think that's a lot of trolling. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he actually cares. Because if he cared, he would have came in at weight to get that belt, right? If this was a very serious thing, he would have came in at weight to get the belt. Secondly, doesn't really look like he's hurting over it. You know what I mean? He's got a lot of things going on, but it's hard to tell with Ryan. You know what I mean? Whether he's hurting or if he's not hurting, if he's having the time of his life, we don't know. We really don't know. According to him, his mother has stage 3 cancer. He's losing money up. This fight cost him. This fight cost him money. Like it didn't pay him out anything. I don't know where the hell he got $35 million when the gate you have to pay back. The guaranteed, not the gate, the guaranteed purse you have to pay back, which was $1.1 million. Anyway, we're not gonna get into what they made. I ain't pocket watching. I'm just saying. He's got a lot going on. Devin's got a lot going on. I mean, Devin, for Christ's sake, he's forced to relinquish his belt. I mean, this couldn't be any worse for Devin. This couldn't be any worse for Devin, honestly. Look at the kid just got beat up in front of the world. Really beat up. You know what I mean? Like never before. Right? This was the first time he's ever taken a loss like this. Honestly, you got to give a guy some time to mentally overcome that, right? To get back in there and have that same courage and, that motivation to get in there. Sometimes you might even doubt yourself at this point, right? So who knows if that's what he's doing. According to what I read on Twitter, he's now looking to sue Ryan. He's now looking. Listen, man, this is why I said you guys are like Days of Our Lives. It's amazing. I've never seen this ever before. Like in my time of boxing, you know what I mean? With De La Hoya, Trinidad, Miguel Cotto, Ricardo Mayorga, Fernando Vargas, Bernard Hopkins, all them guys from that time, Roy Jones Jr., Sweet Pea Pernell Winnicker. I could go on for days. Sugar Shane Moses. I've never seen these guys sue each other for a loss. You know what I mean? But again, for instance, Miguel Cotto, Margarito had casts in his glove. I mean, Miguel Cotto's face was bubbled. You know what I'm saying? Like, and all he did was come back and whoop that ass. That's a fact, Jack. Like he didn't say I'm gonna sue you. He didn't say I'm gonna come. I want my win back. Right? He didn't go to New York. None of that happened. He accepted that loss on his thing, came back, got it back in blood. Right? So today's boxer, I don't know. I don't know. Right?
See, Edward, let's talk about Devin Haney. Bit of a funny comment.
Well, he's one. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed, really. I mean, I think firstly, I have no obligation to bid, right? My contract expired
Couldn't you have bid what you thought the fight was worth, or didn't you think that bid was going to be sufficient enough to outbid Top Rank or whoever?
But sometimes it's a decent question for you, but the reality is I have a broadcaster. We have plans for our schedule. One of the other issues with that fight is it has to take place within 90 days of the bid, right? We're pretty much locked in up until October, November. So, you know, if it was November, December, it might have been a little bit different. And I also have my opinion. I actually think, and I've said this before, I think it's the right fight for Devin. But I have a number of fighters that are under contract. I have a number of fighters that I have obligations to, and I need my budget for those fighters. Now listen, if there's a fight that creates a lot of interest, if there's a fight that's going to drive subscribers to DAZN, of course we will look at that on an individual basis. We did it with Teofimo Lopez against George Kambosos for the Undisputed Championship, but I had a conversation with DAZN. We all felt that this was not a fight that was going to drive subscribers. It wasn't a fight that was going to create loads of interest. And we just decided to pass and spend our money on those fighters that are contracted to us and we have an obligation with. Might be Jerome Boots Ennis, might be Bam, might be Subriel Matias, might be Liam Paro, might be all these guys who have long-term deals. And Devin is a free agent. You know, a lot of fighters talk about this quite, not boastfully, but, you know, I'm a free agent. Which, when things are going well, a free agency can be quite effective. The danger of a free agency is you aren't aligning yourself to a promoter. You don't have that emotional association with a promoter that's going to back you. And I'll always back Devin because he's a friend. But also at the same time, I have no obligation to do so because he hasn't done so to us and for me. So the situation was the night before the purse bid, I had a conversation with Devin and his team and his lawyer. And I said, I'd like to make the Liam Paro unification fight. I said, why don't you speak to WBC, see what's going to happen. I'll speak to DAZN. You know, we'll look at the bids tomorrow and then let me know. And no one got back to me. So, but also, Devin Haney owns Devin Haney Promotions, right? They are his promoter. But this is the problem with co-promoters and all these sort of, you know, that they don't want to take the risk. They want to be a promoter, but they don't want to put the dough up. And we weren't prepared to put the dough up for this fight. And also because when you say about bidding anyway, I feel that the bid that I would have made wouldn't have won the purse bid. And it actually would have been quite a way off. Not a way off, but I wouldn't have bid 2.5 million for the fight.
What was your bid for?
Now, maybe about 2. So, yeah, but listen, the problem is, I don't think it's a bad fight for Devin Haney. But I would like him to fight Liam Paro. And I will continue, by the way, those conversations to fight Liam Paro in Australia. Because right now we are planning a big homecoming for Liam Paro in October in Australia. And I would like it to be Devin Haney. But can it be for the unification? Probably not. So will he vacate that and fight for the IBF? So we've got options for Devin Haney. But unfortunately, Devin Haney against Sandor Martin was not really a fight that myself and DAZN were overly interested in.
Did you message Haney after that comment?
No.
Left it?
Yeah, I didn't like the comment, but listen, he's got no, at the end of the day, you know, I'll look out for Devin, but if you don't put your loyalty with someone, don't expect all of that loyalty back. I'll never do him wrong or do him dirty. I'll always help him where I can. But you got to understand, that's the kind of person I am. If you're with me, you're with me. I'm taking fucking bullets for you. If you ain't, if you want to pander about and be with me when it suits you, that's cool, because I'll be with you when it suits me, you know? And it didn't suit me on this occasion. Just like it didn't suit him to sign a long-term deal before he fought Regis Prograis, or just like it didn't suit him when he went to Top Rank to fight Kambosos. All things that at the right time might have been good for his career. And this was good for my business. So that's the decision we made.
Okay, we haven't got loads of time today, so I've got to push through. Next week, huge press conference.
But anyway, the value of Devin Haney has dropped. According to him, this is why he's trying to sue Devin. Ryan Garcia, right? How he's going to be able to prove that, I'm not sure. How do you put a value on yourself, right? Like how do we determine that, right? I guess we'll leave that to the judges and the DA's office or however they go about this, the lawyers to figure out. I don't know how you would do it. I think it's going to be a tough proceeding if they happen to file. But he decided not to take the Sandor Martin fight. Smart move. I've been saying not to do that. Personally, I don't think you even said it yourself. You're not right mentally. You're not right emotionally. You need to heal, right? That was just in April, for Christ's sake. So you're going to, it was the right thing to do. Plus, honest to God, nobody bid on your fight but Top Rank. And the only reason Top Rank bid was because they have an obligation to Sandor Martin. So if you would have taken that fight, Devin, you would have been telling the market, the boxing world, that that's what you're worth now. And you would have had to work off of that. So I think this was a smart move for you. By the way, Bob Arum had already offered you, if you didn't want that fight, relinquish the belt, and he'd be open to setting up something with Teofimo Lopez, which, honest to God, I think is a way bigger value of a fight. I think the fans would love to see that fight. I would love to see that fight. Who wins? You know what? I'm not even going to say. I'm not even going to say, to be honest with you. I don't know. Depends on how Devin Haney comes back from this. You know what I mean? But since he's relinquished the belt, you now have Alberto Puello, who's become the full WBC champion. And he's ready to stand off against Sandor Martin now. That's the fight that's coming. So, should be a good fight, right? Should be a good fight. I believe Puello actually also tested positive for PEDs not so long ago. I'm not quite sure which one, but he came back from it. He came back from that, being caught, being guilty, and he's the champ today. So, what happened with my smoke thing? I'm looking for it. Let's move on, because at this point, we know that both fighters are taking a year off. Ryan's done a fake retirement, which is kind of weird, right? Because then I would have thought that the suspension would have started from when you came back from retirement. But this is how the game works. So I mean, it is what it is. We have a documentary. I mentioned this in one of my other uploads. This whole Secrets Under Secrets documentary about the Haneys and Victor Conti, and it was put out by Exodus Files, right? I'm trying to, guys. This is a. I don't know how to take the documentary, right? There's some things that are being said in this documentary that I'm just like. First of all, if you've seen the first segment of that Secrets Under Secrets, then you know what I'm talking about, right? They're alluding to in the video that Devin Haney's a weight bully, right? And that Victor Conti knows how to play with the anatomy of the body to make you make weight one night and soup you back up to about 25 pounds to 30 pounds heavier the following night. And is there some truth to that? Listen, right? We could talk about that, right? Because we definitely have seen Mauricio Suleiman have a conversation with Bill Haney about Devin coming in over the WBC granted, 15%, right? They allow you to come in 50% hydrated after weigh-ins. Anything over that, they shouldn't sanction the fight, I guess. But I'm not sure if that's even an actual law by the California Athletic Commission. So I don't know that they could make an argument for it. They could say some things, right? But I don't know that it would be anything they could hold up in a court of law today. So we could talk about him coming in overweight, and we know that he has, right? We know that. Here's the thing, right? Because this new file called File 1 is another segment of that documentary. And there's a woman, as a matter of fact, I'm going to let her explain it. You check it out.
I know everyone likes to talk about the weight, but it's deeper than that with Victor and Devin. It's deeper than just weight. And I'm not saying that weight is not a big deal. Of course it is. But what I'm saying is that when you're able to rapidly cut 30, 40, 50 pounds and then rapidly replace that 25, 30, 40 pounds in 1 day, 2 days, but then still be able to be in a 12-round fight and be active for 12 rounds and show no sign of fatigue. That's we're talking about something different here. This is not, So with Victor, what you're looking at, you can't investigate or bust something that you're unaware of. When you look at certain, you can't. You see these beasts, all these. Think about all of these fighters. They're popping for really old drugs and Ostarine. That's so old. You can't pop positive for something that you don't even have a test for. So what are they going to invest? They can't investigate something that these things are just so far above. They're just so far beyond ahead. So Victor, and remember what I told you was going to happen with VADA, what I told you was going to happen with the New York State Athletic Commission, and it.
Yes, you did.
And it did happen.
And that did happen.
And that did happen. It's funny because they talk about Mayweather. And you love him. Mayweather, love him or hate him. Mayweather is one of the best fighters that we've ever seen. And it's funny because you see Bill Haney, and he talks about, he talks bad about Mayweather and talks down about Mayweather, but they're literally trying to build like a super Mayweather. I know you're laughing, and you're laughing.
No,
I know it sounds crazy, but that's literally what with these. They're trying to build a super Mayweather. You have the man help create VADA.
What about the lawyer, though? The lawyer, what about the VADA lawyer that says Victor Conte is not involved?
No. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Okay.
All right. It was VADA. There was Victor Conte. There was Dr. Margaret Goodman. There was Flip Homofsky. There was Dr. William Berliner. Okay. Literally, Victor Conte helped start VADA. That I don't care what the lawyer says. Of course, the lawyer comes out and says, "Oh, he's not involved." He was involved. They started it in 2010. Because people don't know how VADA works. It's you have people going out saying, "Oh, it takes 2 weeks to get the samples." It doesn't. It does not. It can for especially dealing with so many. But if there is, I gotta watch what I say here. There's so many loose ends when it comes to dealing with those. There's so much. It's deep, man. I'm telling you, it's deep. And with this, what they just pulled, with this thing with Ryan Garcia, with this, I think it's all going to come out now, especially if this follows through with, you know, this is all going to come out now because what they're doing now, they've pissed a lot of people. The Haneys have pissed a lot of people off, and they've made a lot of mistakes. Especially starting last December, and in the last 6 months, they've made a lot of mistakes, and they've pissed off some people that have, even in the music industry, they pissed some. I know. You know what? I'm not gonna even go into that. I'm gonna keep it. It's deep, man.
So you heard it, right? We don't know who the woman is. We don't know who the guy is, right? They don't say their names. They're very cautious about what they're saying. Is there any truth? See, this is the thing about when I talk about the narrative, right? When I talk about don't get caught up in the hype, basically, right? I'm not saying there's not any truth to that. That certainly will raise some eyebrows, some red flags, and I'm sure whoever is in charge of checking this out, investigating this, should do it or will do it, and who knows what'll come out of that. I'm saying as the average fan, do not get caught up and start getting emotional over this, because I've already seen it in my comment boxes. It's created racial. I'm not even kidding, man. I've heard there was guys who told me in my comment box that I haven't even taken a side. I've just talked about things as excited as anybody else is when it gets released, right? But I've had somebody tell me that I'm picking Ryan because I'm Latin, right? Stupid fool don't even realize I picked Devin Haney to win the fight because I thought he was the better fighter at the time. So I mean, it's foolish. Like it's. Come on, man. Like, don't play with me like that. First of all, if you're doing that in my comment box, listen, man, I'm not having you back on the channel, man. You'll have to create a whole nother fake account to get back on here. But you're out of here if we're doing that. I'm not having that. So, again, right, this Exodus file, this file 1, the lady's alluding to how Victor Conti, right, and we all know that he helped create VADA, now WADA, VADA, right? The transporting agency for WADA. We know that, right? Flipper Mansky, Margaret Goodman. And this is why there's controversy, man, because Devin's clearly in business with him, Victor Conti, the owner of Snack, right? And he doesn't have the greatest history. He doesn't. You know what I mean? If we go back in time, we know that he got caught, you know, dealing, you know, SARMs and steroids to baseball players. And he did jail time for it, right? You can go back in time and look online and see that he clearly ratted on Shane Mosley when Shane Mosley got caught for, you know, having steroids in the system. So he's not a credible dude. He's not someone you should even be doing business with if you have the brand of what Devin Haney got. But listen, man, that's your business, right? I can't tell you who to do business with. I can't tell you who to hang with, who to talk to. I wouldn't do it, but it is what it is, right? And that's not to say people can't change, right? I'm just saying it don't matter, right? Even if you make the change, certain people are going to look at you in that light regardless. That's just how it works. Same with me, right? People are going to always look at me as a violent person because of my history. I've made change. I've met new people. These people love me. They hang out with me, whatever. But the people of my past still going to look at me as, nah, man, watch out for dude, right? So it's no different. Just the same way Bill Haney did time for possession. And what I seen was you know, he was moving some heavy stuff, right? But today, he's a boxing promoter. Changed guy. So we have to kind of give benefit of the doubt until there's a fact, you know what I mean? Until there's an investigation done. I don't know if these videos are enough, is what I'm saying. I don't know if any investigator is going to say, you know what? maybe they might look into something, but I don't know if it's enough to start an investigation, like a serious one, or start making accusations. Kind of biased, I think, a little bit. I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me what you feel about these. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out. Look it up on Exodus Files, Secrets Under Secrets, right? You'll find both. You'll find the first one that came out, which is a pretty extensive video, and then you'll find File 1, which is an audible, which I just played for you. You know, the crazy part about that documentary, again, it's odd how Devin Haney's little brother predicted this, Ryan being caught, with PEDs in his system, said Allah told him, it just kept repeating in his head, Allah told him that these PEDs were going to be in there. Odd, a little odd, I'm not going to lie, but again, that doesn't make anything a fact yet, right? Things are going to be looked into. I'll tell you what, if there is some conspiracy theory stuff going on here, right? If there is some foul play, I'm sure, right, that Ryan's legal team and whoever else is involved in investigating this stuff, it'll come out. You can't hide this stuff forever. Devin Haney's not the only one involved with Snack and Victor Conti. That's all I'm going to tell you right now. Terrence Crawford is also involved with that, right? And there's a couple other fighters that I know that are involved with the snack company. So, at this point, Conti's got a lot of credibility. He's built it up. He can't, and he can't work in any other sport because this is the only sport that allows him to work in. But it is what it is, man. You know what I mean? Just don't get caught up in the narrative. That's all I'm saying. And by the way, speaking of narratives, right? I seen a content creator. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not into pulling. I could pull your card, but I'm not going to do that. But talking about Ryan, Ryan's a rat, right? Because he brought up Canelo Alvarez not being suspended, right? Even though he popped for PEDs as well, right? Austrian or whatever, clenbuterol, and he wasn't fined or nothing. He was able to fight, right? This content creator got that completely wrong. The text that he shows you when he's talking about this, he refers to the Joker, right? And the Joker telling the boardman in the Batman movie that he knows the squealer, and he's gonna squeal, right? Well, that text that is being shown is not Ryan Garcia talking at all. Just so you know, right? We're gonna report real news, not create a narrative, right? That came off of Ryan Garcia's mother's Instagram page, Lisa Ryan, right? And that's not even her speaking. That's actually a woman who's trying to hold Dan Raphael accountable for something, whatever their conversation consisted of, because it's very small and you don't get to see the whole thing. But Dan Raphael blocked her. And then, for whatever reason, that woman who was having the conversation with Dan Raphael felt comfortable enough to send it to Ryan Garcia's mother, who read it and said, I'm posting this. So, in fact, that was not Ryan Garcia ratting, okay? He is not a rat. Well, actually, let me slow down a little bit. I wouldn't do a crime with you, Ryan. I'll be honest with you. If it's true that Floyd Mayweather showed you Devin Haney and Tank's sparring match, you clearly ratted on Mayweather. That's a fact. So, but that isn't him in that text. That's all I'm going to say. That isn't him. That's totally fabricated. That's not right. So, and if he got it wrong, I would hope he'd correct himself, because it's not right to report false accusations. So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for supporting me. You guys don't realize, man, I'm so happy. The channel's small, but it's doing, listen, the algorithm's telling me I'm doing great. The analytics are great. And I want to thank you guys for that. I'm obviously doing something right, and I can't do this without you guys. So thanks again, man. I love you guys. Mano Live and Direct. I'm out.